James, recently you've been posting about gunfighting, comparing it to a martial art, and that really made a lot of sense with me. I just wanted to get an idea of what your philosophy was with that.
The reason I liken firearms training to traditional Eastern martial arts is because it is my opinion that gunfighting, as we know it in the world, pretty much originated, modern gunfighting originated in the United States, and it's the only true American martial art. If you look at Kenjutsu, which I study a little bit, the art of the sword, there's a weapon involved, and it's a philosophical thing, and it embodies the mindset, tactics, and skill needed to win in a violent confrontation. There's really no difference with the American swords, and I mean the pistol and the rifle, the shotgun. There's really no difference in those things, in my opinion, as far as the philosophy on training, becoming proficient, not looking for trouble, things like that.
And then you also compared the different types of gun owners there were out there. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. This is certainly open for debate, but the kind of guys I like to be around are what I call the martial artists, and they carry a gun, they train with the gun, they practice with the gun. They don't worry about if their gun's got a little blemish on it or having the newest kind of holster or anything like that. It's about consistently carrying a gun, being ready, being alert, being situationally aware, and hopefully ready to respond to violence. Other kinds of guys that I know from the gun industry or show up from time to time in classes are like hobbyists, and these are guys that they bought all this guns and gear. They really like talking about gear online, and they talk about this thing needs more Velcro and that thing needs another snap, and this green doesn't match that green, and blah blah blah, and they talk about that kind of stuff. And they show up to class. Basically, it's kind of like show and tell for them. They show up in class so they can show everybody the widgets and gadgets that they've bought for their guns. These guys are typically safe. They're typically semi-competent shooters, but they do not embody a fighting mindset. And they typically look for reasons to unload their gun. Like they unload them before they leave the range. They practice shooting all day, but now at the end of the day, they unload it, stick it in the case, put it in the trunk, and then drive away. That's the reason I have chosen not to teach classes in the northeastern United States anymore. Any states that like forbid carrying of guns. I'll make a couple of exceptions, but I don't want to teach people that stick their gun in the case and drive home. It's not that I have anything against those people. It's just a philosophical issue for me, and I just choose not to do it. The other kinds of people that I see are like, I call them the gamers, and these are guys that shoot competitions. Total respect for these guys. They're typically ultra competent shooters, and they make no bones about it. They are training so they can win more trophies, and I have no problem with people that do that at all. I respect that. They are better shooters than I am as far as technical aspects of shooting and things like that. Absolutely proficient shooters, and and they don't get in my way. They're just there to pick up the things they can and move on. So I have no problem with those guys. The group that probably bothers me the most are these so-called the gunfighters, I'll say. And they go on and on and on talking about calibers and things that really don't matter. And they've had training from a lot of schools. Usually there's a line painted on the ground and nobody can be forward of the line or whatever, and your feet got to be in a certain place. And any training that they take that doesn't mimic the training they've already taken, i.e. they're already good at, is discounted as worthless. Especially if it's something totally new, like a new way to hold a gun or a new way to do this or that. If it's absolutely foreign, it's absolutely wrong. These people have basically daydreamed themselves into thinking they're some kind of gunfighter, U.S. Border Patrol or something back in the day, and they have no idea what they're talking about. They've probably never been in a fist fight in their life, but they have all these delusions of grandeur, and they are absolutely a pain in my ass. The final crew, which I don't really ever see, I call the collectors. I know a guy that has nearly 200 handguns that's never had a class. And I just imagine, I think about a guy that has 200 guitars that's never had a guitar lesson. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But the collectors don't get in my way, and so I don't really harbor much ill will towards them. There's probably some other categories or subcategories or whatever, but those are the main ones, and I would encourage everyone to strive towards being the martial artist, being the guy that's serious, being the guy that has the intent to carry his gun, the intent to be as trained as best he can, the intent to practice and ingrain those skills as best he can. I believe that is the ultimate goal for the martial artist.